Michael, just tell us firstly how you got started taking table tennis photos.
It started back in the 1980s, I think. When I used to write a bit for Table Tennis News magazine, and I tried my hand at photographs. Actually, that was in the days of film, so it was quite difficult with very grainy results. But the advent of digital has made it a lot easier.
I guess in the old days you had to wait, you wouldn't know what you'd got until you saw them later.
That's right. You have a roll of film, you get it processed. I had a professional photographer, a friend who had his own lab who did a lot of stuff for me. But he would look at a roll of 36 and say there was only one or two, literally. But that's how picky you need to be really to get decent pictures.
Tell us a bit about the equipment you're using. So what's the lens? What does that do?
The lens is a 100 to 300 millimeter. There's an f2.8, which is a very large aperture, means it lets in a lot of light, relatively speaking.
Which is obviously great because you're not allowed to use flash in a table tennis.
Yeah, I mean most table tennis venues aren't great for lighting unless you're going international. So it is good for that. I mean, it still can be quite noisy. What was called grain is now good noise. But now there's software that helps to counteract that, so just needs a bit of extra time with the processing.
So how do you frame the perfect table tennis shot?
Usually with difficulty because people move around rather quickly. But the key is to focus on the eyes. Try and get as clean as possible the backgrounds, you don't want it too cluttered. And then it can mean a fair amount of work in Photoshop. Sometimes just cropping is enough, sometimes you need to blur the background to make the subject stand out. But there's a few tricks of the trade.
Well, they say the camera never lies, but I think in the days of Photoshop that might not be true.
That's not strictly true, but near enough.